Hi Nick, how are you doing?
Very well this Tuesday morning. How are you, sis?
Good, thanks. Yeah, good.
Splendid. Keeping up with your hygiene hand wash.
I am, and my hand cream because my hands are really, really dry now.
Well, do you know, that's it. People's hands are getting dry, their houses are getting tidier, and their hair's getting worse.
True. Yeah, my roots are coming through now.
Yeah. It's just every hairdresser's going to be completely booked out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Completely for weeks afterwards.
Yeah. We talked yesterday about visualizing and creating your vision and stuff like that, but there's
Indeed.
a crucial step that people have to take, otherwise nothing changes.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that, aren't you? So on you go.
Well, how long is it going to take for me to say take massive action?
That's it. We're done
That's
with
it.
it.
Just press end. That's it. Done. Uh, it's true. You can have. I will share. I think I did in a previous one. I shared that my goal was that I knew that I wanted to stand up in front of people and earn my living doing that. And I'd said whether that was acting or stand-up comedy or delivering training, speaking at conferences. And that's fine, but then you're going to have to take huge amounts of action to actually make that happen. And you know, people out there, yours will be, maybe it's, you know, running a marathon, maybe it's learning to play the guitar or the piano or something like that. But if I take the thing that I wanted to do, and you know, 'cause you're my younger sister, for many years I had this dream of doing stand-up comedy. And I could really picture it, you know, really doing it. But ultimately, I had to take that first step. And actually, the very first step was phoning the Stand Comedy Club in Edinburgh. And I remember exactly where I was when I phoned them up. And almost bizarrely, I was shaking like a leaf when I phoned up the stand and said, hello, I want to do some comedy. It was almost, you know, it was, I don't know what that was akin to, but I was surprised at how nervous I was. And they were very gentle with me. Right? You know,
Luckily.
I suppose taking the attitude that sort of, well, you know, more than half the problem is just admitting that you've got a problem. You know, you want to do stand-up.
I want to do stand-up.
I want to do stand-up. It's all right.
Yeah.
And the lady on the other end of the phone said, well, that's okay. Let's book you in on a Monday night, because Monday night is in the Stand Comedy Club in Edinburgh was called Red Raw. So that was, people only paid £1 to get in. I think it might be £2 now, but £1 to get in. And there were 9 acts, and everybody in the audience knew that the people that they were going to see were either brand new or maybe only on their second gig. And they got you to just do 5 minutes. So you do 5 minutes, and it was in a little room. At the time, the stand had 2 rooms, a little room and a bigger room. And it was in the little room, you know, just to keep. So it's still very nerve-wracking. When you step on stage, you just do 5 minutes. And if you like it and it goes quite well, they invite you back to do another 5 minutes.
And this is interesting because you talk about taking massive action, but that massive action is actually a whole series of baby steps.
Yes.
In and of itself, picking up the phone and making a phone call and saying, I want to do stand-up comedy is not massive action. It's a tiny little action.
Yes.
And I think even that analogy, if you start off in the little room and then you graduate to the big room, I think people get overwhelmed sometimes with their vision and think, oh God, I've got to do it all at once.
Yeah.
No. It's a series of tiny little steps.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, thinking about it actually more about the comedy thing, really, it really meets that actually, because what happens is you then do maybe 5 minutes on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so there's a bit more pressure. And then they say, well, you're ready for 10 minutes, and you do 10 minutes. And then they say, well, are you ready to do a Friday night? Because the main comedy nights are actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights.
Right.
So you start doing 10 minutes there, and then you build to 15, and then you build to 20. And what every comedian looks to do is get a set of about 20 or 25 minutes, and that becomes their thing. And then you do that. And eventually, if you keep going and other things, other factors fitting into place, other parts of the jigsaw, you end up being John Bishop and you're doing an hour and a half of the O2. but what that is, what one realizes when you mix with comedians, is his set of an hour and a half is just, or an hour and 40 minutes, is just 6 20-minute sets. Right, which he slowly developed. And when he goes out on the O2, that's not the first time he's ever done that.
No.
Because what comedians are doing, the big, huge comedians, when they're not at the O2, they're actually at their own local comedy clubs just trying out new stuff. And I think one of the things you're saying there is quite right, is, or fits in with what you're saying, is you can't be perfect all in one go.
No.
If that just doesn't happen, you actually have to get on and make mistakes.
Yeah.
You have to stumble. And that's like in business, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I remember seeing, I shared a stage, or you remember it, hosting the Scottish Legal Awards with Roger Black.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Roger Black, and he said, you know, any fool can win a gold medal. He said, any fool can win a gold medal. He said, what you actually learn from is the mistakes that you make. That's what gets you to the gold medal eventually, finally. And that's true in business, that's comedy, learning a musical instrument, running a marathon, whatever it is. But as long as you're doing something each day, that builds up to massive action, doesn't it?
It does. And I think that's so appropriate for people who are at home keeping their businesses going. Is it doesn't matter if you only do something for 5 minutes each day that will keep your business going. It's really important you do it, and you do it every day, Monday to Friday. You can have weekends off. And it may feel like you're getting nowhere, but it's a baby step, and all those baby steps add up. I think that's great, Nick. And I see Paul Pose in the background.
It never leaves my side now, to be honest. Well, he's actually in the office all the time. I don't want to think I don't want to imagine that for people to think that I take him to bed, because I don't. He stays here in the office, but he's always in my thoughts.
Obviously. Brilliant. All right. Thanks for that, Nick. Hopefully we've helped a few people today. You have a good day. And
I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Speak to you tomorrow.
Happy isolation.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.